Look closely at your house from the outside for a moment. The overhang above the door, the gap in the fence, the shrub that's gotten a bit overgrown near the corner, the eave above the porch that you keep meaning to fix. A sparrow looked at all of that, and it decided, yes, this one. The choice was never random. Most people who notice a sparrow nesting near their house assume the bird just ended up there, took a wrong turn, found a gap, moved in. That explanation feels right. It isn't. House sparrows, Passerus domesticus, are one of the most widely studied birds in the world precisely because of how deeply they are woven into human environments. They do not nest in forests or wild fields. They nest in and around human structures, always have, for thousands of years. And the way they select a location is far more deliberate than it looks. Not the house next door, not the neighbor with the bigger garden. Yours. And the part that most people don't realize is that the choice wasn't random. There was a process, a real one. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what that process was and what it tells you about the tiny life that decided your home was worth staying near. Stay through to the final reveal, because the last thing we cover is the one that I keep thinking about. Animal behavior research tells us that house sparrows conduct extended site assessment before committing to a nesting location. They return to a site repeatedly, sometimes over days or even weeks before any nest material appears. They are watching, testing, evaluating. What are they evaluating? Safety from predators, access to food within a workable range, the behavior of the humans who move through the space, the structural stability of the nesting site itself, whether other sparrows, a sign of social safety, are already nearby. Every one of those factors has to clear a threshold. The sparrow at your house didn't stumble in. It ran your property through a checklist you didn't know existed, and your house passed. There are things about your home that a sparrow finds genuinely attractive, and most of them are things you've probably never thought about. Cavities and gaps matter more than anything else. Sparrows are cavity nesters. They want a sheltered, enclosed space, an eave with a small opening, a gap behind a gutter, the junction of a porch beam and wall, a drain pipe with a gap at the top. The cavity doesn't have to be purpose-built. It has to be the right size, the right depth, and positioned where a predator can't easily reach it. Dense vegetation nearby is the second factor. A hedge, a climbing vine, a thick ornamental shrub. These provide escape cover, social gathering points, and in some species, alternative nest material sources. A bare, open yard with no dense planting is far less attractive than a yard with layered greenery. And then there's the food question. Sparrows don't travel far to feed relative to their size. Animal behavior research suggests most house sparrows forage within a few hundred meters of their nest. A garden with seed-bearing plants, accessible feeders, or even reliable insects and crumbs sits much higher in the selection ranking. Your house had at least some of these, maybe all of them. That is not an accident of architecture. That is an invitation. You just didn't know you were sending it. There's a quality to sparrow behavior in the weeks before nesting that most people miss entirely because it doesn't look like anything significant. A small brown bird, sitting on the fence, moving to the hedge, sitting again, watching the door, watching the window, flying off and coming back an hour later. It looks like loitering. It isn't. When I observe sparrows in this pre-nesting phase, what I notice most is the quality of the stillness. They aren't resting, they are processing. Research on avian spatial cognition tells us that birds like sparrows build detailed mental maps of their territory, not just where food is, but where movement comes from, which directions carry threat, which corners stay quiet. They were mapping your yard, noting which door opens most often, which part of the yard stays empty, where the cat goes, where the noise comes from, where it doesn't.
by the time the first piece of nest material appeared, that tiny straw tucked behind the gutter, the sparrow already knew your home better than most of your visitors do. You thought you were watching a bird. It was taking notes on you. If you're seeing your yard differently right now, that's kind of what this channel is for. Dogs, cats, birds, the animals most people live next to but never really understand. If that's something you want more of, subscribe. There's a new one every week. Now, point 4, and this one stings a little. Things that make a sparrow leave. Once a sparrow has chosen your home, it tends to stay. These are not restless birds. They are deeply place loyal. But there are things that break that loyalty, and some of them are surprisingly easy to accidentally do. Sudden habitat removal is the biggest one. Cutting down a dense hedge, removing a climbing vine, clearing the brush pile in the corner. Any significant change to the vegetation cover the sparrow relied on during its site assessment can trigger abandonment. The shelter it chose is now gone. The calculation has to start over. Persistent predator presence comes second. A cat that patrols the garden regularly, a hawk that has identified the yard as a hunting ground. Sustained pressure from predators will eventually outweigh the attraction of a good nesting cavity. And then there's human unpredictability. Sparrows are not comfortable with erratic, inconsistent human behavior near the nest. People who move calmly, predictably, quietly near nesting birds build a tolerance over time. People who rush, shout, or disturb the area repeatedly, especially during the early nesting period, send a different kind of signal entirely. The sparrow doesn't leave because it dislikes you. It leaves because the safety calculation failed. The good news, all of these are reversible. Plant cover back in, manage the cat's access, move slowly near the nest for the first few weeks. The sparrow will notice. Point 5. Sparrows bond with a place across years. Here's something that tends to surprise people who haven't studied sparrows closely. They come back, not just to the general area, to the same site, the same gap in the eave, the same corner of the hedge, year after year, sometimes for the entire lifespan of the bird. Research on house sparrow site fidelity has found that breeding adults return to the same nest site across multiple seasons at remarkably high rates, much higher than many migratory species that travel thousands of miles and still find their way back. For a bird that never leaves your neighborhood, that loyalty is even more concentrated.
The sparrow on your roof this spring may be the same sparrow that was there last spring and the spring before that. And here's the part that is easy to overlook. Their offspring, the young birds raised in your garden, show elevated attachment to the area where they hatched. Some of them come back too. They settle nearby, they recognize the landscape. Over time, what began as one bird's calculated choice can become a small lineage with a connection to your home that stretches back further than you'd expect. You didn't just host a bird, you may have started something. I want you to think about the word we use for what sparrows do. We say they nest, but that word doesn't carry enough weight. Nesting, for a house sparrow, is not a temporary shelter. It is a commitment, a biological vote of confidence in a specific place and the specific conditions that place holds. The sparrow assessed your home. It ran the calculation. Safety, food, cover, quiet. The behavior of the people inside. The pattern of movement. The presence of threat. Whether this felt like somewhere a small life could survive. And it said yes. Think about what that means. A creature weighing less than a few coins, with no language, no lease, no contract, decided your home was worth trusting. Not because it had no choice, because it looked at everything your property offered and decided it was enough. It decided you were safe to live near. That small brown bird on your windowsill is not a visitor who wandered in by accident. It is a neighbor who chose you deliberately.
and it is still there. You've probably walked past it 100 times. That small shape in the eave, the quick flutter near the hedge, the soft chirp from somewhere you couldn't quite place. A life running its full course right beside yours. It mapped your garden. It watched your patterns. It decided you were part of a place worth staying. You didn't have to do anything special to earn that. You just had to be consistent enough for something small and careful to decide it could trust you. That's all it ever takes. Tell me in the comments, do you have sparrows nesting near your house right now? Where did they choose? The same spot every year or somewhere new? I read everything, and those stories are always my favorite part. If you want more of this, subscribe. New video every week. Birds, dogs, cats. The animals most people think they already understand.